out of the ordinary experiences that we all have, because it seems so natural. And I've been with so many cultures now. I first went to the Amazon region in 1948, that is, as an expedition. And that was not at all for the purpose of getting medicinal plants. I wanted some excitement. I got it. And but the one thing about that was I got hooked on jungle. It's the only thing I've ever been really addicted to. But I can't stay away too much. I get restless. And it does that to some people because, you see, it is an entity. It is not just a bunch of trees and rivers and mud and bugs. It, to me at least, and to most of the people who live in it, I'm thinking of the primitive people, it is a very definite personality. And it has power. And so that is why I have to keep going back. My first trip did it. I got into a tribe who'd never seen a white skin before. They didn't think much of it. They took my hand and went this way. And then they said something and everybody broke up, just howling. And I kept saying to my guide, "What'd they say, Alfredo? What'd they say?" And Alfredo was laughing so hard he couldn't say. But he finally dried his eyes and said, "He says, that isn't white paint, it won't come off. She's really got skin like a fish and eyes like a fish belly, and she's hideous." So that went my ideas of being the white queen of the jungle. And after that, I learned that these people were very different from other people I've known, in that you could really trust them anywhere. I was with a group of heroes. They're the ones who cut off the heads of people that they kill in battle and then shrink them. It's quite an easy matter. It's nothing particularly magical. They boil the head a little bit and then make a slit up the back and peel the skin off, delicate cutting around the cartilage, and sew it up again and then fill it with hot rocks, and smaller and smaller hot rocks, and then finally sand and they sort of model it, and you get a nice little shrunken head called a sansa. And so well, some people have suggested it might be rather good for me, but they were. This is my first encounter with primitives, except for a very brief one in Laos, in Indochina, as it was then. And I discovered they wanted everything I had, of course. Safety pins were the greatest, the most popular. I had fortunately somehow got the idea of taking a lot of safety pins. And since the women wear a dress that goes a piece of cloth wrapped around and brought over one shoulder, rather chic, and fastened here usually with a thorn. Safety pins, combining the elegance of jewelry with modern technology, were a great success. And they also rather sometimes wanted cloth. They weren't so sure. I'd taken a lot of gaudy stuff in. And, but they didn't, mostly they wear brown. Stuff they weave out of the native cotton. Cotton grows all over the place. And then dye brown and make into their clothes. But I could leave everything I owned spread out, because you're always getting wet in jungle, getting rained on, or your raft. I was on a raft for that one because we'd gone through some rapids you can't take a canoe through. And everything out to dry, and I could go away all day, and they wouldn't touch a thing. They're very, very honorable. In fact, honor is all they've got, you see, because they have any possessions in a short time will get mildewed, or they'll be eaten by bugs, or they just plain rot. And so you can't be anybody important by owning things. You have to be it. You have to be the best hunter or the best warrior or whatever. And it works out rather well until our people come along and teach them lots of other things. But that was the first trip, and I learned to respect and admire these people very much. And I had to keep going back. And so I'd been hearing about medicinal plants all the time I'd been in South America, which was by then 3 years, and that the Indians had wonderful remedies, and I didn't believe a word of it. I'd had a year and a half of medical school. And these savages couldn't know anything that my professors didn't know. That's what I thought. And it took me 3 years, I seemed to be a slow learner, before I could accept that. They did have some remarkable things, and only then, because I fell on my machete and got a big gash in this arm. And I have a slight tendency to be a bleeder, and I was out in the bush, not very far from the house, and put on a tourniquet of a vine, and came back, and the interpreter, who was the administrator, that this was a property owned by the widow of a Peruvian who happened to be a gal from Brooklyn, and it was way out of nowhere. It took the record for getting there by canoe was 5 days, and the borders of the property were one range of mountains and a river over here and that way. And so, but here I was bleeding all over the place, and they brought out a bottle with some tree sap in it, and put some on, but of course when you're bleeding like that, nothing will take. It doesn't stay there. And so they said, you have to drink some of this. And, well, I didn't want to be rude, so I drank it. It was the most horrible, acrid, made your mouth pucker, and in 3 minutes, about 3 to 4, I would say, the bleeding had quite stopped. And that was kind of interesting, so I thought, I had plenty of penicillin, I didn't have to worry about infection. But they told me that putting the stuff on it would stop any infection. So I thought, I'll see. And I put a few pieces of adhesive across it, holding it together, but I could see in between, because it got quite dry. And there was never any infection. There was practically no inflammation. In the morning there was a neat scab, a very narrow one, and it healed in a little less than half the normal time, leaving only a very slight scar. So then I had to do a little rethinking and decide that my nice arrogant position of our superiority in medicine would do a little reviewing. And from then on, I went after medicinal plants, and I found they have so much. And their psychedelics are just as important. As a matter of fact, I think there are rather more of them than is generally recognized, even tobacco. Chewing tobacco and swallowing it is very hard on the stomach, but you